Medal of Honor recipients, Private First Class Robert Henry, 16th Infantry, Private First Class Ross McGinnis, 1st Battalion, 26th Infantry Regiment, Sergeant Candelario Garcia, Company B, 1st Battalion, 2nd Infantry Regiment, and Corporal Henry Warner, Anti-Tank Company, 2nd Battalion, 26th Infantry. We would like to take this opportunity to welcome our distinguished guests, Major General and Mrs. Sims, Colonel and Mrs. Norman, Command Sergeant Major Mullinax, and others taking the time to observe virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel James Key, the 1st Infantry Division Chaplain, and the playing of the National Anthem.
Let us pause for a word of prayer as we bow our heads and close our eyes. Dear God, throughout this past year, you have blessed the Big Red One year of honor commemoration ceremony. You've given us the capacity to use time wisely by recognizing the good work of others as well as the virtue, the valor, and courage of those who paved the way. May the legacy of all these heroes compel each one of us to never forget their remarkable and inspirational stories. We give thanks to the team responsible for making these ceremonies possible, but more than that, we give thanks to you for making all things possible. And finally, dear God, as we continue to serve our nation, help us to remain under the influence of your love, the influence of your grace and mercy. And in this season of giving, help us to remember that the greatest gift we can give someone is our time. Please allow us to continue to use it wisely, for it is in your mighty and precious and liberating name we pray, and always say together, amen and amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Dating back to 1917, the 1st Infantry Division has been a driving force in the United States Army. The division has had a storied history, taking part in campaigns around the world, becoming known as the Fighting First. Our Medal of Honor recipients played a major role in our past and share a common quality of courage, bravery, and the dedication to do what is necessary in the midst of life's most difficult circumstances. They embody the values that the 1st Infantry Division strives to uphold: valor, virtue, and victory. This year-long celebration of the division's storied history will connect the division to its past, foster leader development, and enhance a unit esprit de corps. As part of our celebration, we will memorialize streets in honor of Private First Class Henry, Private First Class McGinnis, Sergeant Garcia, and Corporal Warner. Although years have passed since their heroic acts, the meaning behind their sacrifices is never tarnished. Etched within are the very values that each recipient displayed in the moments that mattered: valor, virtue, and victory. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General D.A. Sims, Commanding General of the 1st Infantry Division and Fort Riley.
Well, thanks for attending today, guys, and And to our protocol team, thanks for protecting me from myself and all of us from the virus by ensuring that we're complying accordingly with current standards. Ladies and gentlemen, special guests, soldiers, families, and friends of the 1st Division of Fort Riley, thank you for joining us this morning for our final Big Red 1 Year of Honor Commemoration Ceremony. My name is Sims, and I'm a Big Red 1 soldier, proudly serving amongst the most trained, or the best trained, most cohesive, and most resilient soldiers in the United States Army. It seems like yesterday that we gathered inside the atrium of Victory Hall to celebrate the first month of our year-long recognition of our most valorous members of the division. 11 months later, we've been fortunate to do all but 2 of these outside here in Victory Park, under the watchful eyes of Lady Victory, and in the presence of the plaques dedicated to each of our 37 Medal of Honor recipients. Today, we recognize the final 4 of our 37 and add their names to the others, whose blue signs now adorn 36 streets on Fort Riley. By day's end, our soldiers will have read citations of these 4 extraordinary men and learned of their exploits in World War II, Vietnam, and Iraq. Using their examples from the past, the names of Henry, Warner, Garcia, and McGinnis will be used in the present to increase our connections to this incredible division and to provide life to our Army values. Command Sergeant Major Molinax and I returned from D.C. last night, where we participated in the Army Senior Leader Forum. As part of that forum, former Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, General Retired Peter Corelli, provided remarks concerning the current state of the Army and drawing on key events over the course of his time in uniform. Much of his discussion centered around the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. General Corelli mentioned that when they were instituted in 1995, he wasn't sure they would be carried past the next Chief of Staff of the Army, but he was so very proud that they are still recognized as the Army values nearly 30 years later. Our 4 December Medal of Honor recipients are true examples of these 7 values. Each of them showed immense loyalty to those with whom they were serving. They went above and beyond the call of duty in the actions which led to their award. Their respect for one another, love for those who shared their hardships, enabled them to achieve such valor without a thought of their own well-being, and led to their selfless service, often at the expense of their lives. Their honor and integrity serve as beacons for each of us to follow today. And finally, there is no doubt about their personal courage. When PFC Robert Henry charged a machine gun near Lucum, Germany on December 3rd, 1944, when Corporal Henry Warner repelled multiple tanks in Belgium on December 20 and 21, 1944, when Sergeant Candelario Garcia silenced enemy machine guns on December 8, 1968 in South Vietnam, and when Specialist Ross McGinnis threw himself on a grenade on December 4, 2006 in Baghdad, Iraq. Each man was the epitome of these 7 values. In the future, as we go about our lives here on Fort Riley, driving to or from work, I'm hopeful we periodically look at the street signs which will bear the names of these 4 and recall the extraordinary lives they lived and the example they provide to each of us to be better soldiers, better leaders, better people in all ways. I'm hopeful the ride along Henry Drive, on Warner Way, on Garcia Drive, or McGinnis Way may be long enough for us to think of their demonstrations of the Army values and guide us in the hours and the days of our lives. Tonight we'll reflect on the collective good of the Division's 37 Medal of Honor recipients have done for each of us, for our division, and for our nation. Today, we concentrate particular attention on the final 4 honorees and look to their valor, their victory, their virtue to buoy us in our everyday lives. It's hard to believe we're at the end of the 37, at the end of this special year. And I don't know that we could have ended it with 4 more amazing demonstrations of living lives of honor. What a great day to be a soldier, that much more to be a member of the Big Red 1. Duty first, people always, all else follows.
The Victory Bell of the 1st Infantry Division, located on the south side of Victory Park, was initially used by the 3rd Brigade, 1st Infantry Division while in Germany during the Cold War era. Upon returning to Fort Riley, Kansas, the bell was stored at Anniston Depot in Alabama. When the 1st Infantry Division relocated to Würzburg, Germany, Victory Park was established at the division headquarters. The park was created to provide a place of reflection and to honor fallen soldiers. The bell was reacquired and placed in Victory Park. When the 1st Infantry Division returned to Fort Riley, the bell followed. Standing in front of you are soldiers in period uniform representing our Medal of Honor recipients. They will toll the bell to commemorate these fallen members of the Big Red One who have demonstrated conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty. Afterward, please reflect upon them during a moment of silence. Private First Class Robert Henry sacrificed his life on 3 December 1944 near Luchem, Germany. He volunteered to attempt the destruction of a nest of 5 enemy machine guns located in a bunker 150 yards to the flank which had stopped the advance of his platoon. Stripping off his pack, overshoes, helmet, and overcoat, he sprinted alone with his rifle and hand grenades across the open terrain toward the enemy emplacement. Before he had gone half the distance, he was hit by a burst of machine gun fire. Dropping his rifle, he continued to stagger forward until he fell mortally wounded only 10 yards from the enemy emplacement. His single-handed attack forced the enemy to leave the machine guns. During this break in hostile fire, the platoon moved forward and overran the position. Private Henry, by his gallantry and intrepidity and utter disregard for his own life, enabled his company to reach its objective, capturing this key defense and 70 German prisoners. Private First Class Ross McGinnis sacrificed his life 4 December 2006 in northeast Baghdad. Private First Class Ross A. McGinnis distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty while serving as an M2 50 caliber machine gunner, 1st Platoon, C Company, 1st Battalion, 26th Infantry Regiment in connection with combat operations against an armed enemy in Admia, northeast Baghdad, Iraq, on 4 December 2006. That afternoon, his platoon was conducting combat control operations in an effort to reduce and control sectarian violence in the area. While Private McGinnis was manning the M2 50 caliber machine gun, a fragmentation grenade thrown by an insurgent fell through the gunner's hatch into the vehicle. Reacting quickly, he yelled "grenade," allowing all 4 members of his crew to prepare for the grenade's blast. Then, rather than leaping from the gunner's hatch to safety, Private McGinnis made the courageous decision to protect his crew. In a selfless act of bravery, in which he was mortally wounded, Private McGinnis covered the live grenade, pinning it between his body and the vehicle and absorbing most of the explosion. Private McGinnis's gallant action directly saved 4 men from certain serious injury or death. Private McGinnis's extraordinary heroism and selflessness at the cost of his own life, above and beyond the call of duty, are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. Sergeant Candelario Garcia risked his life 8 December 1968 near Lai Khe, Republic of Vietnam. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Sergeant Candelario Garcia distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty while serving as an acting team leader for Company B, 1st Battalion, 2nd Infantry, 1st Brigade, 1st Infantry Division during combat operations against an armed enemy in Lai Khe, Republic of Vietnam on December 8, 1968. On that day, while conducting reconnaissance, Sergeant Garcia and his platoon discovered communication wire and other signs of an enemy base camp, leading to a densely vegetated area. As the men advanced, they came under intense fire. Several men were hit and trapped in the open. Ignoring a hail of hostile bullets, Sergeant Garcia crawled to within 10 meters of a machine gun bunker, leaped to his feet, and ran directly at the fortification, firing his rifle as he charged. Sergeant Garcia jammed 2 hand grenades into the gun port, and then placed the muzzle of his weapon inside, killing all 4 occupants. Continuing to expose himself to intense enemy fire, Sergeant Garcia raced 15 meters to another bunker and killed its 3 defenders with hand grenades and rifle fire. After again braving the enemy's barrage in order to rescue 2 casualties, he joined his company in an assault which overran the remaining enemy positions. Sergeant Garcia's extraordinary heroism and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. Corporal Henry Warner sacrificed his life 21 December 1944 near Dom-Buchenbach, Belgium. Serving as a 57mm anti-tank gunner with the 2nd Battalion, he was a major factor in stopping enemy tanks during heavy attacks against the battalion position near Dom-Buchenbach, Belgium on 20 to 21 December 1944. In the first attack, launched in the early morning of the 20th, enemy tanks succeeded in penetrating parts of the line. Corporal Warner, disregarding the concentrated cannon and machine gun fire from two tanks bearing down on him and ignoring the imminent danger of being overrun by the infantry moving under tank cover, destroyed the first tank and scored a direct and deadly hit upon the second. A third tank approached to within 5 yards of his position while he was attempting to clear a jammed breech lock. Jumping from his gun pit, he engaged in a pistol duel with the tank commander standing in the turret, killing him and forcing the tank to withdraw. Following a day and night during which our forces were subjected to constant shelling, mortar barrages, and numerous unsuccessful infantry attacks, the enemy struck in great force on the early morning of the 21st. Seeing a Mark IV tank looming out of the mist and heading towards his position, Corporal Warner scored a direct hit. Disregarding his injuries, he endeavored to finish the loading and again fire at the tank whose motor was now aflame, when a second machine gun burst killed him. Corporal Warner's gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty contributed materially to the successful defense against the enemy attacks. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for a moment of silence and remain standing for the playing of the Big Red One song and the Army Song. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes